He called her a mistake until another man took her place. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to the main character. The city looks perfect from the penthouse at night. Glass, steel, lights stretching for miles. It always does. That is why Ethan Hale chose this place. High enough to feel untouchable. Quiet enough to avoid questions he does not want to answer. Behind him, the door closes softly. He does not turn around. "You should not be here this late," he says, his voice calm, practiced, controlled. The same voice that closes billion-dollar deals without raising a heartbeat. She stands near the door, fingers tight around the strap of her worn handbag. The room smells like leather and expensive cologne. None of it belongs to her. "I am leaving tomorrow," she says. That makes him turn. For a brief second, something crosses his face. Not panic, not fear. Something sharper, something he buries instantly. "Good," Ethan replies. That was the agreement. The agreement. Two words that built a life and hollowed it out at the same time. She nods slowly, as if she expected nothing else, as if she trained herself not to hope. Her eyes move past him, over the floor-to-ceiling windows, over the view she memorized but never claimed. "I will have my lawyer send the final paperwork," he continues. "The transfer will clear by morning. You will not need to worry about anything." She lets out a quiet breath. Not relief, resignation. "Is that all?" she asks. Ethan hesitates. He does not know why. He tells himself it is irritation. He tells himself it is inconvenience. He tells himself it is nothing. "You knew what this was from the start," he says. "You were never meant to stay." That is when she finally looks at him. Not angry, not pleading, just tired. "You do not have to explain it again," she says. "I understood my place." Something in her tone shifts, a line he cannot cross back over. He steps closer, lowering his voice, as if softer words will make this cleaner. "Do not misunderstand this. What we had was necessary, nothing more." Her lips press together. She nods once. Then he says it, the sentence that will not leave him. "You were a mistake." The word hangs between them, heavy and final. He expects tears. He expects an argument. He expects her to fight for something he insists does not exist. Instead, she straightens her shoulders. "I hope," she says quietly, "that one day you believe that." She reaches into her bag and places something on the marble table between them. A ring. Not tossed, not slammed. Placed carefully, like an ending that deserves respect even if it never had love. "I will be gone before sunrise," she adds. "You will not see me again." She turns toward the door. For the first time since this arrangement began, Ethan feels something slip out of his control. Not power, not money. Certainty. The door closes behind her. The penthouse is silent again. Just as he likes it. Just as he tells himself he wants. He does not know yet that this is the moment everything begins to unravel. By the time the elevator reaches the ground floor, she already feels lighter, not relieved. Just empty in a way that does not ache anymore. Outside, the night air is colder than she expects. She pulls her coat tighter as she walks past the doorman, who offers a polite nod but avoids her eyes. Everyone in this building knows she was never meant to stay. Her name is Lena Brooks. 3 months ago, she stood in a small conference room with peeling paint and flickering lights, staring at a stack of overdue notices spread across the table. The numbers did not add up no matter how many times she recalculated them. Rent, medical bills, a loan she never should have taken to keep her mother's bakery from closing. That was the day Ethan Hale walked into her life, with a proposal that did not sound like romance, and was never meant to. "I need a wife," he said calmly, as if he were discussing the weather. "Public appearances only, 1 year. You will be compensated generously." She remembered laughing at first, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. A billionaire asking her, a woman who counted every dollar, to sign her name into a life she did not belong to. He laid out the terms with surgical precision. Separate bedrooms, no emotional involvement, absolute discretion. At the end of the contract, she would walk away with enough money to settle her debts and start over somewhere far away from his world. She asked him why her. "Because you have nothing to gain by pretending," he answered, "and nothing to lose by leaving." That should have been her warning. Tonight, as Lena steps into the waiting cab, she realizes he was right about one thing. She will leave, and she will not take anything that was not written into the agreement. The cab pulls away, carrying her toward a small, furnished apartment she rented weeks ago without telling him. She had prepared for this ending long before it arrived. Quietly, carefully, like someone who knew hope was a luxury she could not afford. Back in the penthouse, Ethan stands exactly where she left him. The ring is still on the table. He tells himself he does not need to move it, that it is just an object, a symbol of a transaction that has reached its conclusion. Yet his gaze keeps drifting back to it. He pours himself a glass of whiskey and takes a slow sip. The city below continues to glow, indifferent to the absence of one woman who learned how to exist silently in his space. For the first time in months, the penthouse feels too large. He walks into the bedroom that was never hers. Everything is immaculate, untouched, just the way he insisted. Control has always been his greatest comfort, but when he passes the guest room, he pauses. The door is open. The room is empty. No suitcase, no forgotten sweater. No sign that she ever lived there, except for the faint scent of laundry soap that does not belong to him. That unsettles him more than he expects. The next morning, the housekeeper mentions her absence without meaning to. The assistant schedules meetings without asking if she will attend. The driver does not wait at the curb for her anymore. Life adjusts quickly. Ethan tells himself this is proof that he was right, that the arrangement was efficient, that emotions complicate things, and he has avoided a complication. Still, when his phone buzzes with a message from a colleague inviting him to a charity gala, his first instinct is to glance toward the door and think of her calm smile in rooms full of strangers. He deletes the thought as quickly as it comes. Lena, meanwhile, wakes up to sunlight filtering through cheap curtains and the sound of traffic outside her window. It is not quiet, it is not elegant, but it is hers. She sits at the edge of the bed and exhales slowly. This is where her life resumes. No contracts, no expectations, no pretending. She does not know yet that leaving was the easy part. What comes next will test whether walking away was truly the end, or only the beginning. The contract officially ends 3 days later. No ceremony, no final meeting, just an email from Ethan's legal team confirming the transfer, written in language so clean it feels sterile. Lena reads it once, then closes her laptop and lets the silence settle. She spends that morning doing something she has not done in months. She walks. No driver, no schedule, no heels clicking across marble floors, just her sneakers on cracked pavement, the smell of coffee drifting from a corner cafe, the ordinary noise of a city that does not care who she used to stand beside. By noon, she is standing inside her mother's bakery again. The sign above the door is faded, the display case is half full, but the ovens are warm, and the familiar scent of sugar and yeast wraps around her like an old memory that never judged her. "You look rested," her mother says, surprised. Lena smiles softly. "I am." That afternoon, she deposits the final payment into the business account and quietly clears the debt that has haunted her family for years. No celebration, no announcement, just a quiet correction of a long imbalance. That night, she meets Daniel Carter. It is not dramatic. He is not standing under perfect lighting or arriving in a luxury car. He is there to deliver printed flyers for a local fundraiser and accidentally knocks over a stack of boxes near the counter. "I am so sorry," he says quickly, already kneeling to help. They laugh. They talk. He asks her about the bakery. She asks him why he volunteers so much. There is no performance between them, no contract, no role to play. When he leaves, he thanks her for the coffee and promises to stop by again. Lena does not think much of it. She does not need to. Across the city, Ethan Hale stands in a boardroom overlooking the river, listening to a presentation he has already approved. The numbers are strong. The projections are optimistic. Everything is working exactly as it should. And yet, his attention drifts. He notices the empty chair beside him, the one she used to occupy during public meetings, quiet and observant, offering a steady presence he never acknowledged. "You agree?" someone asks. "Yes," Ethan answers automatically, though he does not remember the question. That evening, he attends the charity gala alone. It is the first time in months. The room feels different without her beside him. Conversations drag. Compliments feel hollow. People ask polite questions he answers with practiced ease, but no one grounds him the way she once did. Then he sees her. Lena stands near the balcony doors, laughing softly at something a man beside her says. She is not dressed for attention. No designer gown, no borrowed confidence. And yet, she looks unmistakably alive. The man beside her leans closer. She does not pull away. Something tightens in Ethan's chest. He tells himself it is irritation, that she is violating nothing, that she owes him nothing, that this was always temporary. Still, his gaze follows her until she disappears into the crowd. Later that night, he finds himself standing on the balcony where she once stood alone, fingers curled around the railing, pretending she did not feel out of place. He remembers telling her she was a mistake. For the first time, the word sounds unfamiliar. Back at the bakery, Lena locks the door and steps into the quiet street. Daniel waits near his car, holding 2 cups of coffee. "I figured you might need this," he says. She hesitates, then accepts one. As they walk together under the streetlights, Lena feels something she has not felt in a long time. Not excitement, not fear. Peace. She does not look back. She does not know that across the city, a man who once believed control was everything has just realized he lost something he never thought he needed. The weeks that follow move quietly, but not slowly. Lena settles into a rhythm she recognizes. Mornings begin before sunrise, flour on her hands, the radio humming softly while the ovens warm the room. Customers return, some new, some familiar. The bakery starts to breathe again, not as a burden, but as a place with purpose. Daniel keeps his promise. He stops by with coffee, helps carry boxes, fixes a loose hinge without being asked. He listens more than he talks, and when he talks, it is never about himself. He asks her what she wants, not what she needs. That difference matters more than she expects. One evening, he invites her to a small fundraiser he helped organize. Nothing extravagant, just a community event supporting local businesses and food banks. "You do not have to come," he says, "but I would like it if you did." She agrees. Across the city, Ethan Hale notices changes he cannot explain. Meetings end earlier, nights feel longer. The penthouse remains spotless, but something essential is missing. He catches himself expecting to hear footsteps that never come. A voice asking whether he wants tea he never drank. His assistant mentions the fundraiser casually. "You might want to attend," she says. "It is getting attention." He nods without interest, then pauses. "What fundraiser?" When he arrives, the venue surprises him. No marble floors, no crystal chandeliers, just warm lighting, exposed brick, and laughter that sounds unfiltered. And then he sees her. Lena stands near the center of the room, speaking with ease to people she has never met before. She looks comfortable, confident, real. Daniel stands beside her, his hand resting lightly at her back, protective without claiming, present without possessing. Ethan stops walking. For a moment, the noise fades. All he sees is the way she tilts her head when she listens, the way she smiles without restraint. She never smiled like that with him. Someone greets him. He responds automatically, but his eyes do not leave her. Lena feels it before she sees him, that familiar tightening in the air, the shift she learned to recognize. She turns. Ethan stands across the room, immaculate as always, power clinging to him like a tailored coat. Their eyes meet. For the first time since she left, he looks unsettled. Daniel notices her pause. "Do you want to leave?" he asks quietly. "No," she answers after a beat. "I am fine." She does not look away. The program begins. Speeches are made. Applause follows. Ethan listens, but not to the words. He watches her react to them. He watches the man beside her lean in, whisper something that makes her laugh. Something sharp cuts through him. Not anger, not jealousy, he insists. Loss. After the event, guests drift toward the exits. Ethan intercepts her near the door. "Lena," he says. She stops. Daniel slows but does not step in. He waits, giving her space without leaving. "Yes?" she asks. Ethan searches for the right tone, the right words. He finds none. "You look well," he says finally. "So do you," she replies. Silence stretches. "I did not expect to see you here," he admits. She meets his gaze steadily. "I did not expect to matter anymore." The words land harder than she intends. Ethan exhales. "I never said you did not matter. You said I was a mistake," she reminds him calmly. Daniel steps closer, not confrontational, just present. Ethan notices. The dynamic shifts. "I hope you have a good evening," Lena says, turning away. As she leaves with Daniel, Ethan watches them go. For the first time, he does not feel powerful. He feels replaceable. And the realization unsettles him more than any loss he has ever measured in numbers. The fallout does not come loudly. It arrives in emails, phone calls, and carefully worded concerns. By Monday morning, Ethan's board wants answers. "Your public image is shifting," one director says during a closed meeting. "People notice who stands beside you and who no longer does." Ethan listens, expression neutral. Another voice follows. "The contract worked because it was clean, predictable. This new situation is not. They do not say her name. They do not have to." Ethan responds with logic. He always does. He explains that his personal life is resolved, that there are no loose ends, that he is fully focused on the company. The board accepts this, on paper. But when the meeting ends, he remains seated, staring at the empty chair across from him, the one she used to occupy without being asked. That evening, an invitation arrives. A high-profile corporate anniversary gala, mandatory attendance, media coverage guaranteed. His assistant hesitates before speaking. "They are expecting you to bring a partner." Ethan nods. "I will handle it." He tells himself this is routine, that he has done this before, that appearances matter more than emotions. Across town, Lena closes the bakery later than usual. Orders have increased. Word is spreading. People like places that feel honest. Daniel waits outside, leaning against his car, scrolling through his phone. "I was thinking," he says as they walk, "there is an opening at the community center. They need someone to lead their food program." She raises an eyebrow. "Are you offering me a job?" "I am offering you an option," he replies. "Only if you want it." The word lands gently. Option. Not obligation. Not agreement. That night, Lena sits by her window, city lights flickering below. For the first time in a long while, her future does not feel like something she borrowed. 2 days later, Ethan stands in front of his closet, suit jackets lined up with precision. He chooses black, safe, imposing, familiar. He stops when he notices something unexpected, a small envelope tucked into the back of a drawer. Inside is a handwritten note. Not romantic, not dramatic. "Dinner is in the oven. Do not forget to eat." He does not remember keeping it. At the gala, the cameras are relentless. Ethan arrives alone. Questions come quickly. Is your wife unable to attend? Are the rumors true? He deflects with practiced ease, but the absence is louder than any answer he gives. Then he sees her again. Lena stands near the edge of the room, not as his companion, but as someone's guest. Daniel is beside her, dressed simply, confidently, his hand resting lightly at her back. They do not hide. Ethan feels the room tilt. He tells himself to stay where he is, to maintain distance, to protect the structure he built his life around. But when he sees her laugh, unguarded and free, something inside him breaks pattern. He crosses the room. Daniel notices first. His posture shifts, not defensive, just alert. Ethan stops a few feet away. "May I speak with you?" he asks Lena. She studies his face, not cold, not warm. For a moment, she agrees. They step aside. "I did not expect to see you here," he says. "You said appearances matter," she replies. "I am learning they do not have to hurt." The words sting because they are true. "I never intended to replace you," he says quietly. She meets his gaze. "You never intended to keep me." Silence presses in. "I am trying to do what is right," Ethan says. "For who?" she asks. The question lands between them, unanswered. Daniel waits nearby, giving her the choice without demanding it. Lena steps back toward him. "I hope you find what you are protecting," she says to Ethan. "I found what I deserve." As she walks away, Ethan does not follow. He stands alone under the lights, applause echoing around him, realizing too late that control has cost him the one thing he never thought to secure. And this time, the mistake is undeniable. The next morning, Ethan does something he has not done in years. He cancels everything. Meetings disappear from his calendar. Calls go unanswered. His assistant hesitates before asking if something is wrong. He tells her he needs the day. He does not explain why. He spends the morning pacing the penthouse, replaying moments he once dismissed as insignificant. The way Lena remembered which coffee he hated. The way she stayed silent during meetings, then quietly corrected a flaw in a proposal later that night. The way she never once asked for more than what was written on paper. He told himself that was discipline. Now it feels like trust. By noon, the realization settles in, heavy and unavoidable. He did not lose her at the gala. He lost her the moment he decided feelings were liabilities. Across town, Lena is learning how peace sounds. The bakery is closed for the afternoon. She sits with Daniel at a small diner, sunlight spilling through wide windows, the kind of place where no one cares who you are outside that room. "You seem distracted," Daniel says gently. She does not deny it. "I ran into my past again." "And?" She stirs her drink slowly. "It reminded me why I left." Daniel nods. He does not press. He has never tried to own her story. That night, Ethan stands in his study, staring at the contract copy he kept, the one he never shredded. The signatures look distant now, almost cruel. He reaches for his phone. He stops. For the first time, he understands that words alone will not reach her. Not apologies, not explanations. Action is the only language left. The opportunity comes sooner than he expects. A crisis breaks before dawn. A supplier scandal tied to one of Ethan's subsidiaries begins trending online. Accusations, exploitation, community backlash. The board demands immediate damage control. Ethan knows exactly what they expect. A public statement, a strategic withdrawal, minimal losses. Instead, he drives across the city, to the neighborhood he never visited before, to the bakery he once helped save with money alone. He steps inside just as Lena is finishing with a customer. She freezes when she sees him. So does Daniel, who stands near the counter, arms crossed but calm. "This is not the place," Lena says quietly. "I know," Ethan replies. "That is why I am here." He does not look at Daniel. He looks only at her. "My company failed people," he says. "Your community. I did not see it because I was too far removed. I need to fix it, not with checks, with accountability." She studies his face, searching for calculation. She finds none. "I am stepping down from the deal," he continues. "Full transparency, public responsibility, and I want your help. Not because of what we were, because you understand what I never tried to." Silence fills the bakery. Daniel shifts, ready to leave if she asks. Lena exhales slowly. "This is not about you proving something to me," she says. "If you do this, it is because it is right." Ethan nods. "I know." For the first time, he is not asking her to play a role. He is asking her to stand as herself. And for the first time, Lena sees the man beneath the control, stripped of certainty, waiting without demands. She does not answer him yet, but she does not ask him to leave. And that, for Ethan Hale, feels like the most fragile hope he has ever held. The backlash arrives faster than anyone expects. By the next morning, headlines spread across every major outlet, not just about the supplier scandal, but about Ethan himself. Analysts question his judgment. Investors demand reassurance. Old interviews resurface, painting him as distant, untouchable, unwilling to listen. The board calls an emergency session. "This is exactly why personal entanglements are dangerous," one director snaps. "You are compromising the company." Ethan listens in silence. Another voice follows. "Step back. Let us manage this. We will issue a statement, suspend the program, and distance ourselves from the communities involved." Ethan looks around the table. Familiar faces, familiar fear. "No," he says. The room stills. "I will not distance the company from this," he continues. "We caused harm. We will address it publicly, transparently, and we will do it with the people affected." The objections come quickly. Legal risks, stock prices, reputation. Ethan stands. "I built this company by controlling outcomes," he says. "That ends now." He leaves the meeting before anyone can stop him. Across town, Lena watches the news from behind the bakery counter. Customers whisper, phones buzz. Daniel stands beside her, reading the same headlines. "He is not backing down," Daniel says quietly. Lena does not answer. She watches Ethan speak on screen, no script in his hand, no distance in his eyes. "I was wrong," he says into the cameras, "and I am accountable." The words are simple, unpolished, dangerous. That afternoon, a letter arrives at the bakery. Not from Ethan, from his board. They offer Lena money, a consulting fee, silence, distance. Daniel reads it once and hands it to her without comment. She folds the letter slowly. "This is where it ends," she says, not to Daniel, to herself. That evening, Ethan arrives at the bakery again. No press, no entourage. "You should not be here," Lena says, locking the door behind the last customer. "I know," he replies. "But they came to you, did they not?" She meets his gaze. "They did." "And?" "I said no." Something shifts in him. Gratitude, fear, respect. "They will try to remove me," he admits. "If that happens, I understand if you walk away." She studies him. "This is not about saving you." "I know," he says. "That is why it matters." The tension between them is different now, not personal, purposeful. Outside, Daniel waits, watching through the window. He sees the way Ethan stands, not towering, not commanding, just present. Later that night, the board makes their move. Ethan is suspended pending review. The news breaks before midnight. Lena's phone lights up with messages. Shock, warnings, questions. She looks at Daniel. "I need to go." "To him?" he asks. She hesitates. "To the truth." Daniel nods. "Then go." She finds Ethan in the penthouse, lights off, city glowing beyond the glass. He turns when he hears her. "They took everything," he says calmly, "except responsibility." She steps closer. "Then you are finally free," she says. He looks at her, really looks at her, and understands. This is the moment contracts cannot protect him, only choice can. And this time, Lena does not walk away. The penthouse feels different at night now. Not powerful, not impressive, just quiet. Ethan sits on the edge of the couch, jacket discarded, tie loosened, staring at the city that once obeyed him. Lena stands near the window, arms folded, watching the same lights with different eyes. "For the first time," he says slowly, "I do not know what happens next." She turns to him. "That scares you?" "Yes," he admits, "but it also feels honest." He exhales, then speaks again, this time without rehearsing the words. "I built my life on control, contracts, distance. I thought if everything had terms, nothing could hurt me." He looks up at her. "I was wrong." Silence settles between them, not uncomfortable, just heavy. "I called you a mistake," he continues, "because admitting I needed you felt like failure." Lena does not interrupt. She has waited a long time to hear this, but she does not rush it. "I did not lose you to another man," Ethan says. "I lost you because I refused to choose you." The truth lands cleanly. Lena steps closer, but not into him. She keeps space between them. "You are right about one thing," she says. "This cannot be about us fixing the past." "I know," he replies. "If there is any chance forward, it has to be real. No agreements, no leverage, no protection." He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a folded document, the contract. He places it on the table, then tears it in half. Once, then again, slowly, deliberately. "I am done hiding behind this," he says. "I am not asking you to come back. I am asking you to see me as I am now." Lena watches the pieces fall. She thinks of the woman she was when she signed her name. Afraid, desperate, grateful for survival. She is not that woman anymore. "What happens if I say no?" she asks. Ethan does not hesitate. "Then I live with it, and I keep doing what is right anyway." That answer matters. Outside, thunder rolls faintly in the distance. The city hums on, unaware of the quiet reckoning unfolding above it. Lena walks to the table and gathers the torn pieces of paper. She places them in the trash. "I am not choosing you because you changed," she says. "I am choosing whether I trust who you are becoming." He nods. "That is fair." She meets his eyes. "This time," she continues, "I walk beside you only if I can walk away freely." Ethan steps back, giving her room. "Then walk freely." The choice settles fully in her hands. She does not rush it. When she finally speaks, her voice is steady. "I will stay," she says, Not as your wife, not as your image, but as myself. Relief crosses his face, not victorious, just grateful. And if I ever feel like a mistake again, she adds, I will leave. He answers without flinching. And I will let you. For the first time, nothing binds them except truth. And for the first time, that feels stronger than any contract ever did. The months that follow do not erase what happened. They redefine it. Ethan does not return to his role the way he left it. The board restructures. Public investigations move forward. Suppliers are replaced. Policies change. Ethan steps back into leadership with limits he did not set himself. And for the first time, he does not fight them. He shows up. In neighborhoods. In meetings without cameras. In rooms where no one cares about his name. Lena does not stand beside him as an image. She stands beside him as a voice. Sometimes she challenges him. Sometimes she walks away for the day and lets him handle things alone. Sometimes she returns to the bakery and reminds herself where she came from. Their lives move forward slowly, deliberately, without labels. One evening, they stand together at a community event, not as a couple announced to the press, but as two people who chose accountability over appearance. A reporter approaches cautiously. Is this your partner? She asks Ethan. He looks at Lena before answering. This is the woman who taught me the difference between control and commitment, he says. The rest is private. Lena smiles, not because she is claimed, but because she is respected. Later that night, back in the penthouse, the space no longer feels like a fortress. It feels lived in. Open windows, warm light, laughter that does not echo. Ethan reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small. Not a contract, not a ring, a key. He places it on the table between them. No conditions, he says. No expectations. Stay when you want. Leave when you need. Lena studies it. This is not a proposal, she says. No, he agrees. It is an invitation. She picks up the key, then sets it beside his. I will not promise forever, she says. I will not ask for it, he replies. They sit together in the quiet, knowing that what they have chosen is harder than fantasy and stronger than obligation. Weeks later, at a small gathering, someone asks Ethan if he regrets the words he once said. He does not hesitate. Yes, he answers, because the mistake was never her. Lena hears him from across the room. She meets his gaze. This time, she does not feel like something that needs to be corrected. She feels chosen. Not because another man took her place, but because the man who once called her a mistake finally learned what it means to choose without fear. And that is where their story truly begins.